that if I wanted to, there's something else that I can do that you'll get to see again later in another demo when I'm talking about layers specifically, is I can add a drop shadow to all of these things. I couldn't necessarily do that effectively if I had done it the way the book told me to do it, which was to make everything into one flattened layer. So what I can do is, let's say I go to the sand dollar, and if I go down to where it says FX, it says add layer style, I can add a drop shadow, and you see it shows me a preview here. And the reason I get a preview is because this preview button is selected. If you notice when I deselect it, it disappears over here on the screen. So we're going to preview it. And I think that 75% is pretty heavy, so I might want to lighten the, maybe around 55 or something like that. And I could also, to try to make it feel a little more realistic, I could increase the distance of the drop shadow and the spread a little bit. Actually, maybe not the spread, maybe just the size. So, and then I can lower the opacity a little bit more. Okay, and then if I commit to that and I'm okay with that, I can move this up on top of here. Okay, and then if I wanted to apply that to all of my different objects, then what I could do is, instead of having to do that individually on all of them, I could go ahead and click on my, right click on the effect, and I could say copy layer style. So it's going to copy the style that's on there. Alright, and then now if I select each of these other layers, not including the background, so just the other layers, and I hold down Shift and I select all of these layers at once. So I selected creature, held Shift, and then I selected conch, and it selected everything in between. Now if I right click on those, I can say paste layer style, and it puts that drop shadow on all of them. Okay, and you might notice that what happened up here is, see, it actually went ahead and put a drop shadow out here, because what that means is that I accidentally missed some pixels whenever I was removing some information. I accidentally copied this. So I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm going to say that that's probably in the conch, because it looks like it's over in the conch. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to select the conch layer, and if I select those pixels and I hit the delete key, see, they go away. They were in fact in the conch layer. So now those things are gone. And I have this little drop shadow, and it's not necessarily effective for every item, so you could go in and individually adjust them, but anyway, it gives you a little bit more depth. And then if you wanted to get rid of all of these other things that are outside and around it, you could go ahead and you could crop the image if you so desired to get rid of all these other pieces and parts. And let's say that you wanted it to be like this. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and crop it. And then if you wanted to get rid of all of this other stuff, well, that's really simple. What I would do is I would take a sample with my eyedropper tool. I'm going to take a sample of this white background, and then see, it made the foreground color white. And now what I can do is I can go in to my background and see where it says it's locked. Let's see if it'll let me paste some color on top of it. Let's go ahead and take our marquee tool, and I'm just going to draw a marquee around this stuff, and I'm going to add to that selection by holding Shift down and drawing some more, and then again Shift again to get this little section, and that just really quickly added all the stuff that I need to my selection. And I'm going to take my paint bucket tool, and I'm going to fill that in. And you see, even though the layer's locked, it's still letting me fill in. But you see here, it's starting to do something weird. Well, if I go up to where it says tolerance for my paint bucket, I can type in the number 255. At some point earlier, you probably remember me telling you that there are a total of 256 tones in a complete tonal range. Well, it goes from 0 to 255. That gives you 256 total tones. Well, if I increase this to the maximum tolerance possible, then that means when I hit this paint bucket, it's going to hit every single tone that's available in my selection. So I don't have to sit there and play around with it, okay? Now if I deselect, I've got this picture with these items, and I can move them around independently of each other, no problem, and you can be done. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the selections demo.